Welcome guys, this is Ola from Stop Me All channel. Today we are discussing Life is Strange 2 achievements, what their meaning, Easter eggs behind them, possible Easter eggs. Well, basically my guesses about where this game is heading, what we're going to see in episodes 2, 3, 4 and 5. I've analyzed all the achievements and it seems like the game is heading in one specific direction, and I do have a clear idea of what's going to happen in each episode, so bear with me, let's analyze some of the achievements, let's play a game and try and guess what's going to happen. Now keep in mind, this is not actually specific, it can't be specific because, well, A, we're guessing, and B, these are not achievements for events, these achievements, there are like item achievements mostly. So each episode has like 5 or 6 achievements for finding a specific item and interacting with it, and 1 achievement for finishing the episode, and this one is the most important one, I believe, because this is the one that actually can give us a clue about where the episodes are heading. Now items, it's more or less important, like obviously this is not something that you have to do, you don't have to find these items, but analyzing the achievements for each episode did give me an idea of what this episode will be about, also where it's going to happen. I already recorded a video about episode 2, my episode 2 predictions, and I backed it up with some achievements. And it worked really well with what I think is going to happen. So make sure to check that video out because, well, everything is there. But if you don't wanna watch that video, then I will just briefly summarize it, just for the sake of that video as well. Also, I do want to correct some of the things that I said because, well, the moment I was recording that video, I didn't have the pictures that you can find next to these achievements. I only had the titles of the achievements, so there is a difference because some pictures, they give you a pretty clear idea of what it's going to be. And it's something really cool, actually. So let's start with episode 2. The achievements for episode 2 are Back in Time, Family Business, Bad Santa, Heirloom, Teenage Angst, Small Town Blues, A Private Journey, Draw the Line, and the most important one, so Free Spirits. You get that one for finishing episode 2. Okay, just to sum up what I've already said in episode 2 predictions video. Back in Time. Find optional collectible in episode 2. I believe that episode 2 will take place in Beaver's Creek, almost entirely. Beaver's Creek is where Chris lives actually. So Chris that we know from Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. I believe Miss Reynolds, so the neighbor that visited Chris, is our grandmother. We know that her name is Reynolds. She did say in one scenario that her grandchildren are home for Christmas, and by the end of Captain Spirit we saw both Shawn and Daniel. So that's pretty clear. Also, she did mention that she hasn't seen them in a while. So it's more than possible that Karen Diaz used to be Karen Reynolds before she got married to Esteban, so Shawn and Daniel's father. Her name was Karen Reynolds and she comes from Beaver's Creek, where Miss Reynolds still lives, Claire Reynolds. We'll be in Miss Reynolds' house. So this is like our mother's house. Obviously, we will need a place to rest and to sort of reflect on things that happened to us. Maybe discuss Daniel's forces, maybe discuss Daniel's forces with Daniel. We know that he will start training his forces based on the sneak peek that we saw by the end of episode 1. Back in Time, that's a collectible strongly related to Karen Diaz or like Karen Reynolds. Maybe we'll snoop around her room and we'll find something, maybe a clock, just like in that picture. Or maybe it will be less literal, but definitely something that belonged to our mother. Now, Family Business. I thought that achievement meant that Miss Reynolds is running a company, or that maybe family business means that Daniel's powers are sort of their business only, like the family's business. I had a theory that maybe Daniel and Shawn's mother also had the powers, some powers, and maybe it's something that you can inherit, and that's why she left them, because she couldn't control them, to protect them, something like that. I discussed that in that video. But now, based on that picture, I actually think this is more like Charles and Chris. I believe that collectible can be found in Chris's house. Will be connected connected to Charles and Chris. Now, Bad Santa, this indicates that we will be there in the Christmas time. So this can be like a gift related, most probably based on the picture. Now, heirloom. Heirloom can mean two things basically. Heirloom is either a valuable object that has belonged to a family for several generations, or, especially in North American, it's a traditional variety of plant or breed of animal which is not associated with large-scale commercial agriculture. Based on that photo, it seems like it could be plants related, but given the fact that we're in our mother's house, I also think that it's connected to our mother. Maybe we'll find her book, the kind of a notebook where you'd sort of put your fresh flowers and wait for them to go, old and, dry for whatever reason. But yeah, people do that. Teenage angst. This is a cool one. Obviously, the anarchy sign is a clear before the storm reference. So what if we actually find it somewhere in that town in Beaver's Creek, and we'll know that Chloe left that over there, that she drew a graffiti with that anarchy sign or something similar to that. That would be pretty cool. Teenage Angst is also a Placebo song. I used to listen to Placebo like crazy person. I know that song, and I think given the fact that Shawn's listening to similar type of music that I am, I think Shawn would actually enjoy a Placebo song. So yeah, he's not exactly listening to new bands, like given the fact that he was listening to The Streets. When I was listening to The Streets, I was also listening to Placebo. So there you go, Teenage Angst. Small Town Blues. Obviously this is something Beaver's Creek related. So maybe once we're out there in the town, maybe we'll actually go and check out that small town. Needless to say, blues goes for sad. Maybe we'll not enjoy being in that town. I don't really know. We have to remember that this is an achievement for a collectible. It's not really for an event, though I do believe that these two are actually kind of connected. Now, the most important achievement is Free Spirits. This is the one that we get for finishing episode 2. Free Spirits, what does it mean? Like the symbol clearly looks Indian. Maybe we'll sort of learn to let go of what happened. Maybe we'll come at peace with whatever happened. After all, we didn't really have any time to properly grieve our father. We didn't have time to reflect on everything that happened. We didn't have any time to sort of take a moment to ourselves. Maybe not take care of Daniel for a moment. Focus on ourselves, since Daniel will be probably playing around with Chris. Now Chris, we know that he was playing as pretending to be a Captain Spirit. Free Spirits, does it mean that he's going to join us? I don't think so. I'm not certain that Shawn will be able to sort of take care of 2 kids. I think taking care of one is already difficult. Although I would be up for it, I would be okay with Chris joining us. So who knows? Who knows? I do believe that us, Daniel and Shawn, will be able to influence Chris's future. Maybe we'll be able to free him from his father's torment, and he'll be able to help us move on. They sort of leaked episode 2's name, and it's called Rules. So it's interesting because episode 1's name was Roads, and now it's Rules. Somehow I believe that episode's number 3 title will be Rebels, but maybe I'm wrong. I do believe that episode 3 will take place in California. Now, if you have a look at the achievements for that one, the Dharma Buns, Train of Thought, 0 Hugs Given, Green Thumbs, Dancing Days, One of Us, Lost Boys Chronicles, American Graffiti, and the most important one for finishing episode 3, Adrift. There are some hidden Easter eggs in those, actually. If you have a look at the Dharma Buns one. The Dharma Buns is a 1958 novel by Beat Generation author Jack Kerouac. The basis for the novel's semi-fictional accounts are events occurring years after the events of On the Road. The main characters are the narrator and an essayist. The book concerns duality in Kerouac's life and ideals, examining the relationship of the outdoors, mountaineer, hiking, hitchhiking through the West US with his city life of jazz clubs, poetry readings and drunken parties. The protagonists search for a Buddhist context to his experiences. The book had a significant influence on the hippie counterculture of the 1960s. I somehow believe episode 3 will be more of a spiritual one, and we'll spend it in Los Angeles. I also believe that we might bump into Max and Chloe while being in Los Angeles, because we know that this is where they probably go. So the Dharma bombs is connected to a book. I'm thinking that we'll actually get to meet a group of rebels, maybe hippies, or any group really, any subculture. And just the general vibe of all these achievements, it gives me like a rebel vibe. Train of thought. Is it possible that we'll actually travel by train? Train of thought could also be a Before the Storm reference. Of course, train of thought has two meanings. So, a literal train and also a process of thinking. So what if we spend some time on a train reflecting on stuff? The achievements that actually give me a rebel vibe are 0 Hugs Given, Green Thumbs, Dancing Days, Lost Boys Chronicles, and American Graffiti. Green Thumb is actually a special talent for gardening, but based on that little picture next to that achievement, we know what kind of a gardening it is actually. So this is why I believe we will end up with a hippie group or something like that, something similar. Dancing Days is actually a 1973 Led Zeppelin song. So Dancing Days are here again as the summer evenings grow. You are my flower, you are my power, you are my woman, who knows? I said it's alright, you know it's alright, you know it's all in my heart. You'll be my only, my one and only. Is that the way it should start? So there you go. You are my flower, you are my power. Flower power. Another indication that we will actually end up with hippies. It's actually pretty cool because episode 2, we spend that in a small town. Episode 3, we will spend with a subculture pretty much. And I believe episode 4 will also focus on one specific group, but I'll get to that. One of Us, I'm not certain. Could this be an indication of One of Us, a John Osborne song? But you know what's interesting? That song that I mentioned, Led Zeppelin one, Dancing Days, that song is a 1973 song. American Graffiti, so another achievement, is a 1973 American coming-of-age comedy film. Set in Modesto, California in 1962, the film is a study of the cruising and rock and roll cultures popular among the post-World War II baby boom generation. This is why I believe we will end up in California in episode 3. Lost Boys Chronicles. The Lost Boys is a 1987 American horror comedy. The film is about two brothers who move to California and end up fighting a gang of young vampires. Clearly we will be in California. The achievement that you get for finishing episode 3 is actually called Adrift. Now, I don't know why, because if you have a look at the map, we clearly traveled from Oregon, so northeast of the state, south towards San Francisco, towards Los Angeles, and then if we go further south, you will actually find Puerto Lobos, so where we're traveling. Do you think we're going to try and sort of get a boat or something? That's weird, because I'm not really certain if it's this is the way to get to Mexico. It seems like going by land would be more convenient. Although, they could bump into a wall. I am not certain, but what I am certain of is that we won't actually reach Mexico. I don't think we'll reach Mexico. Now, episode 4. I believe that episode will take place in some sort of a church. I was considering that this could be a sect of a sort, like some sort of group, society, like Jehovah's Witnesses or something, but no, I think this will be your typical church. Hopefully this will be like a normal church, and Shawn and Daniel will end up there, which is weird that they're only ending up there just now, because they're coming from a half Mexican family, so they're probably strongly Catholic based on the Virgin Mary photo that they had in their garage, but whatever. If you have a look at the achievements, the strongly religious ones, they're indicating religion, so this is more than certain than while we spend episode 3 with a hippie group or like rock and roll group, we will spend episode 4 somewhere around the church. Episode achievements for collectibles are A New Perspective, Lone Wolf, Amazing Grace, Promised Land, All Sinners, Heaven and Hell, Archivist, Chiaroscuro. New perspectives. I don't really know anything about that achievement. I know that there's a Panic at the Disco song from 2009, a band that Shawn would be likely listening to, so maybe there's that. Now, a bunch of these achievements are strongly connected to religion. A promised land is the land which, according to the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, was promised and subsequently given by God to Abraham and his descendants, and in modern context an image and idea related both to the restored homeland for the Jewish people and to salvation and liberation is more generally understood. Heaven and Hell is actually a Black Sabbath 1980s song. Chiaroscuro means, in Italian, light and dark. In art, it's the use of a strong contrast between light and dark, usually bold contrast, affecting a whole composition. It is also a technical term used by artists and art historians for the use of contrast of light to achieve a sense of volume in modeling three-dimensional objects and figures. I'm practically certain that it means that this is a kind of art that Shawn will see, possibly in some sort of a religious art, and he will try to use that. It's mostly a bunch of religious concepts, really. Amazing grace, promised land, all sinners, heaven and hell. Now, finishing episode 4 will provide you with Romans 3:23 achievements. Now, obviously, this is a Bible quote. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and all are justified freely by His grace through the redemption that came by Christ Jesus. Well, mostly it means that God is perfect, righteous and sinless. We are all sinners and come short of that, so we cannot enter God's heaven, but God has provided a remedy for this. So do you think we'll try to sort of find a remedy for our sins? I don't think we committed any sins. I'm not really a religious person myself, though I do like the idea of religion and God just as a concept. To me, it's more of a concept. I do like it, so I'm excited to watch that episode, but we haven't done anything. We ran away, but that's pretty much all that we've done. We haven't really committed any sins. Maybe this changed. Maybe we have in episodes 2 or 3. Maybe you have by, stealing from Frank Stamper's store. I don't know, I'm trying to be a good brother and sort of not steal. Not really a brother, more like a citizen. Not steal. Try and follow the legal path. Achievements for episode 5. The Magic Place, The Age of Reason, She-Wolf, Remorseful, Dead Man's Bones, Boundaries, Specks of Dust, Out of Ink, and achievement for finishing episode 5 is Homeward Bound. The Age of Reason. That's actually a work by English and American political activist Thomas Paine arguing for the philosophical position of deism. It follows in the tradition of 18th century British deism and challenges institutionalized religion and the legitimacy of the Bible. Could this be that we're going to contradict what we've learned in episode 4 about religion? Are we going to be more rational? That it would be a French way to go. France is not really a religious country. In fact, it's quite far from the religion when it comes to the country itself. And they do like philosophy. So it would make sense that we're going to be more rational and more philosophical about matters like that. She-Wolf. I think it was actually a Shakira song, but yeah, I doubt it's about that. I think we will actually see our mother. I think our mother will come to get us. She-Wolf. I mean, after all, both Shawn and Daniel are considered wolves. She will find us and she will try to get us. Remorseful and Boundaries. Now this is an interesting one. Does it mean that we will actually get arrested? I doubt it. It would contradict my belief about the fact that they haven't committed any crimes. I also made a video about that. I don't think they committed any crimes. I don't think there is any reason to treat them as suspects. They haven't done anything and what happened cannot be rationally explained. It would be very hard to charge them. Make sure to watch my video if you want to actually comment about that, because I believe I cleared out a lot of possible questions in that video. Now, Dead Man's Bones. This is actually a band. Ryan Gosling singing in that band. It's a very good band. They recorded an album. These songs were mostly Halloween themed. I remember there was one called Werewolf's Heart. We did find out that Life is Strange 2 is bound to last a year. So if we started our journey before Halloween, we might end our journey next to Halloween. Maybe we'll actually hear a Dead Man's Bones song. More than that, I do believe that this is actually about visiting our father's grave, finally. Dead Man's Bones. I mean, that's a... now that I'm thinking, it's a bit too literal. What's optional is that we'll actually visit a cemetery in Mexico. If we actually end up in Puerto Lobos, then we'll go and visit our ancestors' graves. Homeward Bound. Homeward Bound is actually a Simon and Garfunkel 1966 song. I'm sitting in the railway station, got a ticket to my destination. On a tour of one night stands my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band. Homeward bound. I wish I was homeward bound. Home where my thoughts escaping, home where my music's playing, home where my love lies waiting silently for me. I mean, there's also a 1993 movie called Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey. It's about 2 dogs, or 3, but yeah, I doubt that. I don't think it's about dogs. I do feel like these lyrics, Simon and Garfunkel ones, really fit our journey. I do believe we will head home, where Lila will be waiting for us. We will go home with our mother, or we'll meet her there. End of the day, I don't believe that this game is about going to Mexico. I don't think this game is about getting there, to Puerto Lobos. I do believe that this game is about the journey itself, the act of travel, the things that we learn on the way. It's not about destination, it's about the process of getting there. That's why I don't think we'll actually end up in Mexico. That's pretty much it. So I discussed the more important achievements, obviously not all of them. I wouldn't want to discuss all of them because some of them are not too clear and any guess is a good one. But those that I talked about, I believe that I'm on the right track. But let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please leave a like so I know that, there's a purpose in what I'm doing. Subscribe for more videos. There will be a special Life is Strange giveaway soon too, so make sure to hit that notification bell as well. Check out the links in the description, especially for Patreons, as I appreciate any support, helping me get better equipment and games and stuff like that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you liked that video. Discuss away. Take care of yourselves, guys. This was Ola from Stop Me All channel. Bye.